These here are the best wireless bookshelf speakers made by KEF. An upgrade even from the revered LS50 Wireless 2s, the latest from Kent Engineering and Foundry, these are the LS Lux. It's been a while since I had a listening experience worthy of the term exhilarating, and these speakers have been capable of delivering exactly that. Despite their understated design, there is actually a surprising amount of technology housed within. Moving the air are a pair of 12th generation Uni-Q drivers. That's the same generation of the point source Uni-Q array found on the LS50 Wireless 2. However, and this is one of those good howevers, the ones on the LS Lux are bigger, measuring 6.5 inches. What that translates to is rather impressive bass extension for a two-way speaker. Though with that, I would avoid approaching the LS Luxes with the expectation that these are bass-heavy speakers. While they are bass-capable, they're not exactly bass-forward. The sound profile is definitely aimed at a neutral and faithful rendition. If a track's low frequencies are mixed particularly heavy to begin with, then the LS Lux won't be stepping in to exaggerate them. Though if a piece does call for it, then you will definitely hear and even feel that bass being present. Part of that clean linear bass response on the LS Lux could be attributed to it having KEF's patented VCO technology. That's short for velocity control, and it's a pretty genius system that uses sensors to measure the movement of the woofer cone in real time. That measurement gets compared against the input signal which that very same driver is being asked to play. So it's essentially tallying its output against its input, and any differences are corrected instantly. These are KEF's first hi-fi loudspeakers to feature velocity control. Previously, this has only been seen, or rather heard, on their Zio soundbar. The result is accurate bass response. With this quality of bass, you don't have to have a subwoofer to have fun with music on these. Though realistically, these also won't be rumbling your room like a subwoofer would. I'd say it's definitely listener's preference whether or not you need a subwoofer with the LS Lux. But if elevated bass performance resonates with you, you could consider pairing the LS Lux with KEF's own KC62 subwoofer for something a bit compact, or there's also the twice as powerful KC92 featuring dual 9-inch force-cancelling drivers. But back on the LS Lux, both the mid-bass and tweeters are now driven by current drive amplifiers. This is a step up from the LS50 Wireless 2. They've got plenty of power as well. The mid-bass is driven by a 280-watt Class D amplifier, while each tweeter's driven by a separate 100-watt Class AB. That gives these plenty of headroom, even if you're setting these up in a large living room. In fact, I rarely find myself ever needing to go past 60% volume on the LS Luxes. The dynamic range on these, fantastic. Listening to this rendition of the 24th variation of Rachmaninoff's Rhapsody on a Theme of Paganini, the scale of this piece grows to a series of very demanding fortissimos, and the LS Lux progresses through that effortlessly. Those massive orchestral hits leading up to that final crescendo, you feel all of that energy punching right through without any sense of being withheld by the LS Lux. Something you can't see within the cabinet, and you can't hear it either because that's the whole point of it, is the way KEF's metamaterial absorption technology is integrated within the LS Lux. This was also present on the LS50 Wireless 2, and it's a special structure placed behind the driver which absorbs 99% of unwanted sound so it doesn't bounce back towards you. A uniquely attractive trait about the LS Lux is how its sound quality doesn't come at the expense of aesthetics. This doesn't force you to choose between good sound or good looks, because it offers both. When you lay eyes on the LS Lux for the very first time, the roundness of it certainly is a departure from the boxy form of speakers we've grown so accustomed to, and for that reason, I suppose it's not impossible for one to think of these as being form over function. But therein lies an interesting detail. The form of the LS Lux actually serves its function. The designer behind LS Lux is none other than Ross Lovegrove, and those smooth, rounded speaker cabinets, it's not just a matter of taste, it's actually acoustically optimal for speakers. It's a very well-documented phenomenon that sharp edges on a loudspeaker cause sound waves to diffract. So by eliminating edges, the LS Lux is very close to being acoustically ideal. It's a beautiful marriage of design and engineering. As much as it has the presence of this luxurious sculpted statement, it's equally a testament to brilliant audio engineering. Even the heatsink on the back, which for the most time is not even visible, was designed with these organic flowing lines for its fins. The attention to detail here is genuine satisfaction to anyone who appreciates design. Even the I/O ports are laid out in a very intentional way to respect visual appeal. The LS Lux comes in 3 colors. There's mineral white, which comes in a satin finish, dusk titanium with a high gloss, almost metallic finish, and the one I've got here is Eclipse Black. It's this deep, finely textured matte black. With the exception of the heatsink boundaries, you actually won't see any joining lines, trims, or fixings on the LS Lux. The cabinet is made from BMC, which is a glass fiber composite material, but for the first time on a two-way uni-Q driver, the cabinet is actually decoupled from the driver. If you put a hand on it while it's playing, you can actually physically feel how little the cabinet moves in relation to the driver. So even with demanding tracks, you'll be hearing sound from the drivers, not the cabinet. Throughout my testing, I have not heard a single buzz from the cabinet vibrating, even when a track hits a loud resonant note. For something taking the form of elegance and minimalism, it's quite astounding how much tech and engineering this is hiding in plain sight. And visually, you can certainly have these working in a truly minimal setup. Each speaker plugs into AC power independently, so your setup can go as clean as a single power cable for each speaker. Everything else can happen entirely sans wires. The sample rate is a very respectable 96K 24-bit when the LS Lux is run as a wireless pair, though if you use a cabled interlink between the speakers, that goes up to an even higher 192K 24-bit. The full wireless experience is completed with the LS Lux having a built-in streamer based upon KEF's W2 wireless platform. It supports most popular streaming services, including Tidal via Tidal Connect. That's been the main way I've been listening to the LS Lux, because that way the full lossless stream is going directly to the speakers. These do also have support for Google Cast and AirPlay, and for good measure, there's also good old Bluetooth mode. In terms of physical inputs, this is where there's actually not too many options. There's no RCA input, just a 3.5mm stereo in. HDMI ARC is available, but there's no option for USB input. The USB-C port you'll find on the back is for power output only, not input. So evidently this is very wireless first when it comes to sources. The remote control, which you get with the LS Lux, is also the more premium C3 remote. It's got a very nice metal faceplate, but my favorite thing has to be the backlit buttons, which automatically light up when you pick up the remote. And it's also a gentle fade every time it comes on or goes off, and it really adds to that luxurious experience every time you interact with the LS Lux. And of course, when you sit down with a pair of these, the experience will be nothing short of captivating. The uni-Q drivers being point source means the imaging is immaculate. One of my personal favorites I've heard on the LS Lux is Sinatra's Fly Me to the Moon. After the count-in, which is panned hard left, it's almost chilling how squarely Sinatra's vocals are placed right in front of you. When the cross sticks kick in sometime later hard right, it actually completes the width of the stage you're now immersed in. But even if you're just walking around your space with music playing, the uni-Q drivers are some of the most forgiving when it comes to off-axis listening. The LS Lux is a beautiful statement both in sound and looks, and if the opportunity arises, I definitely recommend spending some time in a room of these. But until you hear these for yourself in person, all the audio in this review was played back and re-recorded through the KEF LS Lux. That's how natural these sound.